So we are going to start today a new topic. And what topic did we, what topic we did in the last lecture of ours? Can anybody of you tell me? Mohan, Riaz, Anayat, Vivek is saying inflation. Okay, great, great. Yes, we did inflation. So for people who are new, and especially who were there in the previous lecture, what we are going to do today is that we are going to first revise the inflation, and we'll do a revision for first 5-10 minutes, because we are coming after 2-3 days. I want you to refresh. Okay, so let's move on to what we did in the previous chapter. That was inflation. Okay, starting on with inflation. Now I'm going to ask you, and people who know are going to comment. Okay, so let me begin. Mohan, okay, got it, Mohan. Great, wonderful. So I'm asking you, the first question is, what is inflation? Tell me. Increase in price level, Diksha. Great. Avinash is saying general increase in price level. Okay. Mukul is saying rise in price level. Great, great. Increase in PRC. Yeah. PRC level. Okay. Rishi. Anat is saying increase. Okay. So I can understand that all of you people know inflation. What is inflation? For people who are new today, thank you, Manisha. Thank you, Tanveer. For people who are new today, we have two girls today who are new. For them, I would like to tell, inflation is basically the general increase in the price level. So what happens if today you buy something of 10 rupees a kg, and tomorrow you go to the market and you buy with the same amount of the rupee, that is 10 rupees, you buy half kg of the apples or half kg of any product. That is what basically increase in the price level. So if I repeat the same thing in Hindi, I would say, आज अगर 10 रुपए की 1 kg कोई कमोडिटी मिल रही है, जब प्रोडक्ट मिल रहा है, और आप दूसरे दिन जाते हैं, उसी 10 रुपए से हाफ के जी मिलती है, दैट मीन्स क्या हो गया, प्राइस लेवल डबल हो गया. इस जनरल इंक्रीज इन प्राइस लेवल को हम इन्फ्लेशन बोलते हैं. गॉट इट? मूविंग ऑन टू अदर टॉपिक, you are going to tell me who measures inflation in India. All of you, tell me. Who measures inflation in India? Avinash is saying CSO, Mohan Kaul is saying CSO, Umang is saying Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Rishi is saying, who said CPI? Diksha, it's not CPI. CPI is basically the index of measuring inflation. But when the question is, who measures inflation in India, what do you have to say? Okay, there is nothing to be sorry, Diksha. It's basically Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, and people who are writing CSO, they are also not wrong, because CSO is an office under the Ministry of Program and Statistics and Program Implementation. So people who are new today, I'll tell you basic what is the what exactly we are doing. So inflation in India is measured by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Got it? Yeah. Okay. So, got it? That is Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. This is the organization which is responsible for measuring inflation in India. And how do we measure inflation? What are the two indexes? Can anybody of you tell me? What were the two indexes under which we measure? Two indexes, Manisha, I want both. CPI and WPI. Great. Okay. God. Wonderful. No. Okay. So now for the new students again, there are two indexes under which we measure inflation. And what are indexes? I'll tell you. Basically, whenever we have to measure something, there is an index. Okay. And there are two indexes. One of them is Consumer Price Index, that is CPI. Other is WPI, that is Wholesale Price Index. And under CPI, what do? We measure what kind of prices? Because it is CPI, so we measure retail prices. The prices ultimately which we pay, the consumer who is paying. And what are WPI? WPI is Wholesale Price Index. And under that, we measure, as the name speak itself, wholesale prices. Okay, Navnitika, did you get this? आपको समझ आया? She is new along with us, so I want her to answer. आपको समझ आ गया नवनीतिका? Till now how we are proceeding and how we proceeded? Suneha. Okay, great. Okay, yes, wonderful. So this is our journey. We discussed what inflation is. We discussed what how inflation is measured. So we got to know its Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Then we got to the other point that how many indexes and how do we measure. There are two indexes basically: Consumer Price Index and Wholesale Price Index. Okay. And can anybody of you tell me what is deflation, the opposite of inflation? Decrease in prices. Great. Yes, general fall in the price level. So deflation is, I cited an example. If you remember that to inflate is like, for example, there is a tire of a vehicle that we ride. And when there is inflation, what should strike your mind? That the air in the tire is more than what is required. That is inflation. It has inflated. And when it is deflation, how you can remember is the tire has depleted. That means the air in the tire is basically less than what it optimally should be. Okay. So whenever inflation and deflation comes to your mind, first thing should strike. How is inflation bad, Manmeet? Obviously, it is bad, I'll tell you. Manmeet has asked a question which I think we addressed in the previous lecture also, but I'll repeat once again. Deflation is bad in the sense because the deflation definition speaks, Mukul, yes, we discussed, it speaks that there is a fall in the price level. And when there is a fall in the price level, that means the person who is selling goods and commodities in the market is not getting, the price which should be. So if he's not getting the actual price in the market, the price which optimally should be, that means he's not earning enough. If he's not earning enough, he'll not be able to feed his children. And if he's not able to feed his children, he'll not be able to buy optimally from the shop from where he should buy. I'll give you an example. Zakir has come, let me admit, and especially for the people who have come today new, a very wonderful question of Manmeet. I'll give you an example. Say, for example, we will take example of Manmeet only. Manmeet is saying, but he's also getting the other products for cheaper. Manmeet, in order to understand economy, what you have to do is you have to first, whenever there is any concept that you have to understand, you have to understand that concept in isolation so that at least the effect of that particular phenomena can be understood. Otherwise, there are so many macro variables in economy, you won't be able to understand for how a single phenomena occurs. So for now, what we'll understand, what we'll think, we'll take a family. Let's understand that Manmeet is a shop owner. Okay, Manmeet is a shop owner, and he sells apples. We always take example of apples, so we'll discuss this time apples also. Manmeet is a shopkeeper selling apples, and there is a deflation in the economy. For that, you should know what deflation is, and as you people know, deflation is the general fall in the price level. So now there is a fall in the price level. That means Manmeet is not able to earn, to a level that he should. No, and also the meaning of deflation is that there is a pessimism in the economy. And what does pessimism means? That people do not see that there is a profit earning opportunity in the economy. So people like Manmeet, people like Mukesh Ambani, people like Dhirubhai Ambani, who's no more in the world, people like Bill Gates, or people like all other rich people who are entrepreneurs or who are business people, they will not come into the economy and start new ventures because there is pessimism in the economy. The real, one of the brightest example I can say right now in the COVID-19, you see the whole world economy is shattered. Our Indian economy itself is like at present, all the global indicators have predicted that it is not going to grow so well in this year or coming year. Because why it is happening? Because the economy has not been able to perform to the optimum level. So coming back to the topic, what we were discussing is when there is so much pessimism in the economy, what will happen? When Manmeet will not get prices optimal, which should be how much he should get, Manmeet will get a lower amount of income at the disposal. If earlier he was able to sell 20 rupees an apple, now he'll be able to sell 50 rupees apple. That means there is a loss of 5 rupees of the income of Manmeet. And what will happen? If he got 20 earlier, then what would have happened? He would have spent those 20 buying other products. And what will happen? other people from where Manmeet would have, bought those commodities or products, they would have, got more income. Now 5 rupees less income is there in the economy, and this whole circle will, this income generation of other people, because those 5 people who will get 15 rupees from Manmeet would also buy their products from some other person, some other wholesaler, and that some other wholesaler would also buy the products from some other farmer or the producer. So what is happening in the economy? We have one more person. Okay. So what is happening in the economy? When there is a deflation in the economy, ultimately everybody is at loss. Manmeet, am I able to make you understand? Or if there is something we can discuss, no problem. Yes, sir, it's good. Okay, Manmeet. I hope the new people, Navnidika and the other girl is also able to understand. Neha is also able to understand how deflation is not so good for the economy. Okay, good. Got it. So the opposite question can be asked, that is inflation good for the economy? The answer would be yes, because we discussed in the previous lecture, it is good for the economy, but to a certain point of time. Okay, got it, Manisha, good. Now, what else we discussed? We are done with inflation, deflation. We are done with CPI, WPI, Ministry of, yeah. Okay, guys. Vaibhav have given a valid point. Something I forgot, because most of the times I forget. I gave you a homework of what reflation is. Can anybody of you tell me what reflation is? Barring the new people, because they were not present there. Other people. Mohan, Manmeet, Vikas, all of you tell me. Because if you haven't done the homework, I'm not going to tell you what reflation is. Believe me. Because I'll postpone this inflation. Umang is saying opposite of deflation. Umang, that is not exactly the definition. You cannot say deflation is the opposite of inflation. You have to just tell me what deflation is. Likewise, reflation. Tell me what reflation is, if people know. Vivek, situation brought by the government to reduce unemployment and increase in demand. Good, Vikas, you're very close. Zakir, to boost economy. Zakir, that's good. Every attempt of the government is to boost economy, but what exactly it is? To bring inflation back, and we're not exactly the definition. Crossing line of recession. Till the time you people answer, I'll tell the new people what different definitions are. We did inflation, we did the opposite of deflation, inflation, that is deflation. We also did what stagflation is. We did, we gave homework of reflation, and then we did, what other we did? Plotting inflation, walking inflation, hyperinflation, galloping inflation, all these things we did. And if you have not done that, don't worry, we'll repeat this lecture for you. Anayat is saying to bring back, money by reducing taxes when prices fall heavenly and government increase the price level of the economic stability. What I can conclude is you people have not done the homework. So I'm not going to tell you what inflation is. I'm the very stubborn teacher, and let's see who is more stubborn. So you got to do your homework. This is postponed. You got to do this homework once again. Go home, type Google what reflation is, and come back to me in the next lecture and tell me what reflation is. Okay? I'm happy that you have not done homework, because that gives me an opportunity to tell you people what reflation is. So keep disappointing me. Next, tell me what is the base year of CPI? Who have given this? Okay, that's a wonderful. Yes, 2012 base year. Yeah, great. What is the Mukul Arora in one word? What Mukul? What do you want in one word? Tanvir, we have moved on to next topic now. So kindly answer 2012 only. Okay, great. This is the base year of CPI. A direct question comes in the market, that what actually is the base year of CPI? You all, Suneha, sir, can you repeat the question? The question was, what is the base year of CPI? And for that, what base year is? Base year is basically the year which we take into the consideration. Okay? For example, Suneha, that I go to a market and today I buy. What I did, I bought a 1 kg of apple for 10 rupees, and tomorrow again I go to the market, and what I see is that the price of the apples have increased and they have moved to 20 rupees. And now how much I can buy is with 10 rupees, half kg. So what I'm doing, I'm comparing tomorrow's price with today's price. Then only I'll be able to conclude that whether the prices have increased or not. So that tomorrow's price is basically base year. Got it, Sneha, or you want me to repeat it? Basically base year क्या होता है कि हाँ, got it, okay Sneha, got it. Guys, what else we did? We did types of inflation. I'll tell you, as we are revising, 2 to 3% of inflation is good for economy. More than that is a warning signal, and more than 10% is a hazardous for economy. So, and we categorize inflation basically into different categories. Because we have moved on, okay. So types of inflation on the basis of rate, we can say there's a creeping inflation when there is at the rate of 3% or less percent of inflation in the economy. We say that inflation is creeping. And the example that good Ritu, the example that I gave you people is initially a child, newborn child creeps. So you have to keep in your mind that is creeping inflation. Then when the rate of inflation increases more than 3%, it is basically walking or trotting. Because again, you have to think of the child. After creeping, what does child do? Child trots, walks, he falls, again rises. That is 3 to 10%. That type of inflation is called trotting or walking. More than that, more than 10%, we call that running inflation, because when rate of inflation is more than 10%, then you have to think about the child is running. That is running inflation. Got it? Then with CPI, all we have done. Okay, what is the base year of WPI? Tanveer, yeah, hyper galloping, yes. What is the base year of 2000? WPI? Unmade. Okay, for the new people, till now, what you have to remember is only these facts, that CPI base year is 2012, WPI, that is wholesale price index, base year is 2011. Yes, Vikas, got. CPI is consumer price index, WPI wholesale price index. Our friend Weber also wants to know, that's why I repeated that. Okay. We have done that. We have done this. Okay. As you can see on the slide, on what what is the frequency of WPI being published? So my question is, कितने frequency पे WPI publish किया जाता है? एक weekly था, एक monthly था. आपको ये बताना है. क्या WPI क्या था? Okay, WPI is weekly. Avinash is saying. Others also tell me. Tanveer is also saying weekly. Okay, who has written this? Avinash, you are writing monthly. Tanveer, CPI is monthly. Exactly, Tanveer. I am asking you about WPI. Please stick to the question only, okay? Yeah, WPI. Now my question is for CPI, Consumer Price Index. It is published on a monthly basis. Exactly, Diksha. Good. Ritu, Manisha. Yes, Mukul, Rishi. Yes. Okay, we have revised that as well. Now that is, we'll do this afterwards. We have done growth and economy. Okay. Now coming back. Okay, guys. Now this is a syllabus, and we have done growth and development. We have done meaning, scope, difference, and relevance. We have done inflation, meaning, types, and effects. Okay. These are the two topics that we have done. Okay. And today our topic is going to be fiscal policy, meaning, scope, and methodology. Okay. So all of you have to, even for the new people, all of you have to write this thing into the comment section. What is our today's topic? Fiscal policy. Right, fiscal policy, and then I'm going to make you understand what fiscal policy is. It is a very interesting topic. All of you are going to learn, love it, I'm sure. Great, great. Okay, wonderful. Now, before we start, one should know what fiscal policy is. Very important, sir. Vikas. Yeah, Vikas, I know. That's why we're discussing. Thank you. Okay. So, before we start, we should know what fiscal policy is. Basically, there are two different policies. One of them is monetary policy, other is fiscal policy. Monetary policy, for the time being, you should understand that it is, it falls under the domain of the RBI, Reserve Bank of India. And for other countries, it falls into the domain of all the central banks of different countries. And for India, like now we were discussing fiscal policy. Fiscal policy falls under the domain of government. How we can, boost an economy, how we can keep the health of the economy in check. Two different policies. One of them monetary policy, other is a fiscal policy. Monetary policy with the RBI, fiscal policy with the finance minister. Okay? Because who deals with the taxation? Who deals with the expenditure? Ritu Singh repeats, sir. Ritu, I'll tell you, मैं हिंदी में समझाता हूँ आपको. Basically, इकोनॉमी की जब भी हम हेल्थ की बात करते हैं, तो उसके लिए हमारे पास करेक्शन के लिए या उसको बूस्ट करने के लिए दो डिफरेंट पॉलिसीज हैं या दो डिफरेंट इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैं. वो दो पॉलिसीज क्या हैं? एक पॉलिसी है फिस्कल पॉलिसी, एक है मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी. मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी का मतलब पैसा, और पैसा किसके पास है? रिजर्व बैंक के पास है. सो आपको इस तरह से करना है कि मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी को कौन देखता है? रिजर्व बैंक. ओके. और फिस्कल पॉलिसी है हमारा फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर. फिस्कल पॉलिसी होती क्या है? बेसिकली जो हमारा बजट है उसी को हम पूरा फिस्कल पॉलिसी बोलते हैं. और हमारा बजट कौन लेके आता है? हमारा फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर, जो हमारी फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री. ओके. सो अब आज का टॉपिक हमारा फिस्कल पॉलिसी है. तो फिस्कल पॉलिसी का मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है? सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव फिस्कल पॉलिसी का है टू बूस्ट द ग्रोथ ऑफ द इकोनॉमी. ओके. अब इकोनॉमी, Mohan is saying Nirmala Sitharaman. Yes, we know that's finance minister. Wonderful, thank you. Now, objectives of fiscal policy की जब बात करें, सबसे पहला ऑब्जेक्टिव फिस्कल पॉलिसी का क्या है? हमें अपनी इकोनॉमी को बूस्ट करना है, उसकी ग्रोथ रेट इंक्रीज करनी है. पहला जो आपको याद होना चाहिए, टू बूस्ट द इकोनॉमी. ओके. सेकेंड इज स्टेबिलिटी. ओके. स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ द इकोनॉमी क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है? हमें बूस्ट तो करना है, एट द सेम टाइम हमें इकोनॉमी में स्टेबिलिटी भी चाहिए. ग्रेट. इकोनॉमी में स्टेबिलिटी भी चाहिए. तीसरा, हमें प्राइस लेवल को चेक करना है, इन्फ्लेशन को. सो हमारी फिस्कल पॉलिसी के ऑब्जेक्टिव जब हम कर रहे हैं, फर्स्ट इज व्हाट? ऑल ऑफ यू राइट. फर्स्ट इज व्हाट? बूस्ट द ग्रोथ ऑफ द इकोनॉमी. व्हाट? टेल मी, what is the primary objective of fiscal policy? Mohan Kaul is saying make 5 trillion economy. We got it, Mohan. Thank you. Yes. Boost the growth of the economy. ठीक है. Yeah. So इस तरह से अगर मैं और छोटी बेसिक एग्जांपल दूं आपको, थिंक ऑफ योर इकोनॉमी लाइक ऑफ योर फैमिली. इस कंट्री की इकोनॉमी को अपनी फैमिली की तरह लेके जाएं. तो यहाँ पे आरबीआई इज योर मदर बिकॉज शी हैज ऑल द मनी, and finance minister is your father. Okay, these are two different things. And why I have taken this example of your mother? Because okay, we have to change this again now, because our finance minister is a woman. So think about your finance minister as your mother and father as Reserve Bank of India. Okay. Now, in order to check the health of the economy or check the health of your family, basically what we have to do is that to increase the income. And that is why we have taken this example, boost the growth of the economy. That is going to be the primary objective of this fiscal policy. First. Second objective of fiscal policy is price level check. That is to check inflation. Now what you have to type this? To check price level or to contain inflation? Yes, price level. Yes. Because this is a direct question that most of the time gets, asked, examiner asks you in the exam. That which of the following is the objective of the fiscal policy? Then you should get to know, because you can read, you can study. If you have not understand this thing, you will not able to do this particular question. This is very easy. To boost the growth of the economy, to check the price stability, or to check the inflation of the economy. Got it? So we have done second also. To boost employment in the economy. Okay? Or to contain unemployment. Third objective is what? All of you right. Third objective is about Employment. Yeah. Tanvi, we have moved from inflation now. It's to employment. To provide unemployment, yeah, or to increase unemployment. Manisha, good. Riyaz, good. Good. Ritu, good. Good. So this is how our economy moves on. क्योंकि अगर हम कोई भी पॉलिसी लाते हैं, पहले तो हम ग्रोथ करेंगे इकोनॉमी की, फिर वहां पे जो प्राइस लेवल है उनको चेक करेंगे, फिर हम एम्प्लॉयमेंट के बारे में देखेंगे कि अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट कम हो और एम्प्लॉयमेंट लेवल हमारा बढ़े. ओके गाइस, सो ये हमारे प्राइमरी ऑब्जेक्टिव है थोड़े थोड़े. और हम देख लेते हैं वो क्या हम कुछ रह तो नहीं गया हमारा. If there is any question on FB, you can tell me. I can answer that as well. Okay. Yes, we have discussed that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. If there is any question on Facebook, we can take that as well. We want all of you people to understand. Okay, we are moving to the slide of the today, guys. Okay. Yeah. So, Vaibhav have requested me to speak in Hindi. How many of you people are, happy being what we are undergoing right now? Or you people want me to speak in Hindi? Are you people comfortable? Or you want me to, switch to the language, other language? Tell me. It's fine. It's fine. Yes, with both. Okay. No, it's going fine. Okay. Okay. Okay with English. Okay. 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 Okay, guys. Okay, yes, understandable in English. Good, good, Zakir. Okay, so as we can see, we were talking about fiscal policy, and we discussed that fiscal policy falls under the domain of the finance ministry. Okay, and who comes out with this policy is basically finance minister of this country. And who is the finance minister of this country? Mohan told me. I want all of you to write who is the finance minister of this country. Nirmala Sitharaman. Yes, yes. Ritu Sitharaman. Yes. Okay. She is the finance minister of this country. Good. So, exact definition of fiscal policy is any policy by the way of which government spends its, adjusts its spending level and monitors tax rate. हिंदी में बताऊं आपको तो फिस्कल पॉलिसी में बेसिकली हमारे पास दो इंस्ट्रूमेंट होते हैं. इंस्ट्रूमेंट का मतलब गवर्नमेंट के पास दो वेपन है. एक वेपन है गवर्नमेंट स्पेंडिंग, दूसरा है टैक्स रेट. And I want all of you to write because this is how you are going to learn and I am going to tell you further, deeper into this. There are two instruments basically. One of them is government spending, right? Government spending, and right other is basically taxation, tax rate. Yes, Tanveer, good. All of you write. Anayat write, Avinash write, Manisha, Mohan, Rishi, Tanveer, Suneha, all of you write. Government spending and tax rate. Okay. Okay. Good. Good, Suneha. Good, Rishi. Okay. Okay. Mohan is saying voice is cracking. Mohan, you please try to admit once again. I'll get you do. Okay. Okay. Diksha is also writing. Good. So these are basically two instruments. Okay. Government spending and tax rate. And what government does with two instruments is, as you see, government spending means what? Government spending is how much government can spend and how government spends. Like for example, you must have heard about Manrega. You must have heard about the way government is building roads in this country, the way government is building bridges in this country, the way government is coming with different schemes to build up infrastructure in this country. Vikas subsidies, yes, Vikas, all these things. Okay. So this falls under the domain of government spending. Other is tax rate. Tax rate is every year when you see there are different tax slabs in the country. For example, we are exempted up to 10% or 20%, no tax. More than that, we have 10% tax slab. After that, we have 30%, and likewise, whatever we have. Tanveer, it's not GST. I'll tell you why. Okay. Yeah, in taxation, it is GST. Right, Tanveer? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, different. All these things. So, on the one hand, we have government spending. On the other hand, we have tax rates. Now we know the definition of government spending by the way the government spends money in the economy, and by the way the government raises tax rates or lowers tax rates, that falls under the domain of the tax rate. Got it? Petroleum does not fall under the GST. Mohan, we do not have to discuss this right now. Let's move step by step. That's a different topic. Okay. Fiscal policy we are doing. Great. So we were talking about government spending. Now, what government can do with the government spending? It's very interesting. I'll give you an example. For example, Mohan is the finance minister of this country. Okay, and Mohan, thinks that he wants to build roads in this country. Or let's take some other example. Mohan wants to build a library. Okay, he wants to build a library in the biggest library in this country. Now, in order to build that library, it is not that you can build that library overnight. You have to first go for the foundation. You have to invite different people who will show their craft, show their art. Workers who would come there, they will take cement and all those things and build library. So thousands of people would be employed depending upon the size of the library. Let's assume there are thousands of people who would be employed there. And it's not that they will come and they will do work for free, because Mohan has to pay them. Even if he's a finance minister, there is no free service. There are no free lunches. He has to pay all of them. Now, for me, I'm the laborer who comes to work, under Mohan, and Mohan tells me that you have to build this library, and I work there. Mohan gives me 500 or 1,000 rupees as the laborer charge that I charge. I take that 1,000, I go to my home, I go to the nearby shop, I purchase things from that shopkeeper. If I'm spending 800 rupees there, that 800 rupees is what? The income of that shopkeeper. Got it? That shopkeeper's income is 800. Then let's assume that I am the only person who buys commodities from that shopkeeper. So his income is 800 rupees, shopkeepers, and he goes to the wholesaler from where he purchases products, and he spends 600 rupees there. So that 600 is basically the income of the wholesale person or the shopkeeper, wholesale shopkeeper. And out of that 600, let's assume that that shopkeeper is the only customer of that wholesaler person. He spends 400 rupees, for buying commodities from the farmer. Ultimately, the product is coming from the farm only, na? So a farmer, he earns 400 rupees. So that is also the income of the farmer. And that farmer, he will also spend those 400 in order to buy different commodities, in order to buy some medicine from the chemist, in order to buy some ration from some other shopkeeper. So what is happening? This is the circle of the economy. Mohan spend those 1,000 rupees, and that 1,000 rupees becomes income of so many people. This is basically a concept called money or income multiplier. What, guys? Income multiplier. Income multiplier is basically wherein government spends something. Okay, if government is spending 10 rupees, that becomes the income in terms of 1,000 rupees of different people. Is there anybody who didn't understand how the government spending increase the income of the so many people? Or you want me to repeat this concept? Tanveer, yes, sir. For the new people, do you people understand this basic example? Manisha, yes, good Manisha. Mohan, you are the builder of the library. Did you understand? Diksha, yes, okay. Riaz, yes, okay. Circulation of money. Mohan, it's not only circulation of the money. The key concept here is income multiplier. It is not that 1,000 only is getting circulated. It is basically that 1,000 is multiplying into so many other multiples. If the government spends 10 rupees, that becomes 1000 times income of the other people. Depends upon the rate of circulation and all the things. We do not want to delve deeper into that, but you have to understand, whenever government spends something, that becomes increase multiplier effect that gives, but it also increases income to many people. Yes, that is what Tanvir we are discussing. Okay, so that is basically, this is how. सुनेहा, आपको समझ आया? Anayat is saying it increases income to a larger extent. Yes, that is basically the income multiplier. Okay. Yes, Suneha. Okay, got it. Good. So आपको अब ये समझ आ गया कैसे गवर्नमेंट स्पेंडिंग से गवर्नमेंट इनकम को रेगुलेट करती है या इनकम को इंक्रीज करती है. ठीक है, ये एक बेसिक कंसेप्ट है. इज फिस्कल पॉलिसी हेल्प्स अस इन मेकिंग बजट? ऋषि, दैट इज फिस्कल पॉलिसी के अंदर ही बजट आता है. इट्स नॉट दैट फिस्कल पॉलिसी हेल्प्स अस इन मेकिंग बजट. फिस्कल पॉलिसी का ही रिजल्ट बजट है. ऋषि इज आस्किंग इज ओके. ओह गॉट इट ऋषि. ओके, सो ये गवर्नमेंट स्पेंडिंग है. इससे गवर्नमेंट क्या एडजस्ट करती है? गवर्नमेंट स्पेंडिंग करके एक तो गवर्नमेंट लोगों की इनकम इंक्रीज करती है, दूसरा एम्प्लॉयमेंट भी गवर्नमेंट ने प्रोवाइड कर दी. मुझ जैसे फॉर पीपल लाइक मी हु वर अर्लियर अनएम्प्लॉयड, नाउ बिकॉज मोहन इज बिल्डिंग लाइब्रेरी, आई एम एबल टू गेट इनकम. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मनरेगा, because when the government rolled this particular policy, the basic objective was increase the income of the people and to provide them employment. Got it? The income is there, employment is there. Okay, now this brings the optimism in the economy, because when a lot of people are getting income, if I'm getting income, Mukul is getting income, Vivek is getting income, Tanvir is getting income from Mohan, what we'll do, we'll buy different commodities. And if we'll buy different commodities, for example, all of us are purchasing saffron. If all of us are purchasing saffron, the saffron cultivators, happy, they will produce more and more of saffron, and that will boost economy of one sector. Got it? So this is how the government spending helps economy. There can be the opposite way also. You people can ask, if tomorrow Mohan, who is the finance minister of this country, thinks that okay, enough of the inflation in the economy, the people have a lot of income in their pocket, and because of this, what is happening? Mukul is saying, yeah, right, circulation of money, boost of economy. Yes, Mukul. Okay, we were discussing that the opposite of this, government spending can also happen. What it is, that tomorrow if the finance minister of this country thinks that people have a lot of money in their pocket, and because of this, what is happening, that there is an increase in the price level of goods and services. So, Zakir, you have raised hand. Is there anything that you want me to answer, or it is by mistake? Okay, Zakir. Yeah. So the government thinks that there is enough money in the pocket of the people, and because of that, there is an increase in the price level, and inflation is increasing beyond the desired level. What Mohan, the finance minister, would do? He would stop the work of library. He would say, no, nobody from tomorrow would come to the work. What will happen? People like me, people like Zakir, people like Tanvir who are working there, the work, the income that we were getting, we will become unemployed. Yes, Manisha, thank you for letting us know that we got unemployed. So we'll become unemployed. And if we get unemployed, we will receive no income. And if we receive no income, basically the income of the other people who were dependent upon us or who were earning from us, the shopkeeper and the wholesale person, they will also not receive income. So what will happen? The money supply in the economy would shrink, and if we will not have income, we will not go to the saffron dealer and will not purchase saffron. So the price of the saffron would also fall. Got it, guys? This way, what is happening? We are regulating income in the economy. We are regulating inflation also. Is there anybody who didn't understand how government spending can regulate inflation or the price level in the economy? Is there anybody? If there is anyone, write yes. Otherwise, write no. And meanwhile, Weber can tell me if there is any question on Facebook. Zakir is saying yes. Zakir, you can tell me if there is any question. Okay, you want me to repeat this thing, or what exactly you didn't understand? No, sir, have a little view over this. You can let's share what overview. You want me to repeat? Okay, no problem. Again, I'll repeat. What I was telling you people is that how, with the help of government spending, government regulates inflation, government regulates income, government regulates employment in the economy. I took example of Mohan. Let's change our finance minister. We are very powerful. We can change our finance minister. Okay. So now for the time being, we'll give finance minister to Zakir. Zakir is a finance minister, and he thinks that people have a lot of money. Inflation has increased from above 10%. So what does that mean? Zakir needs to control this inflation, and how would he control inflation? He will straightforwardly decrease the level of government spending in the economy. To take an example, Zakir would stop the work of the library. Thousands of the laborers who are working on that library would ultimately go unemployed. If they get unemployed, that means their income gets snatched from their hands or from their pockets. If their income gets snatched from their pockets, they'll not be able to buy goods from the shopkeeper, and shopkeeper ultimately will not be able to buy goods from wholesaler, and will not be able to purchase saffron or other commodities. So overall in the economy, the price level will come down. Yeah, the demand gets reduced. The effective demand in the economy gets reduced. Got it, guys? Good. Okay. So the other instrument. What was the other instrument of the fiscal policy? Thank you, Tanvir. Yes. Okay. What was the other instrument? Tax rate. I want all of you to participate, guys. Economy is very interesting if all of us participates. Avinash, tax rate. Manisha, Mohan, Rishi, Suneha, Zakir, and I. Tell me. Ritu, okay, tax rate. Great. Diksha, good. Tax. Yep. Riaz, Rishi. So that is the other instrument of fiscal policy. And how government uses this particular instrument of tax rate? Government can increase tax rate or can decrease tax rate, or can keep the tax rate at the prevailing level. These are three things that government can do. One, increase tax rate, other, decrease tax rate, or can keep the tax rate at the prevailing rate, same rate, being neutral. Okay. And what happens when government increases, decreases, or keeps tax rate at the same level? That, yeah, Vinash, that depends on according to the situation. For example, there is an inflation in the economy, guys. So what government would do? Would government increase the tax rate or government decrease the tax rate? My question is, if there is inflation in the economy, Zakir is saying increase, Avinash is saying decrease. That brings me a lot of happiness when the house is divided, because that gives me an opportunity to make you people understand. Tanvir is saying during inflation it will increase. Good, Tanvir. I want all of you to share your viewpoint. Rayas is saying increase. Okay. Rishi, tell me. Mohan, tell me. Suneha, tell me. Ritu, tell me. Okay, Zakir, thank you for the elaborate answer. Anayat is saying increase. Diksha is saying increase. Okay. Okay. Good. So, yes, people who have written increase, that's correct. Because if there is an inflation in the economy, that means people have a lot of money in their pocket. So what is happening? A bidding is happening. For example, there are only 1 kg of the apple, and all of you are studying economics. They have money in your pocket, and there is only 1 kg of the apple to be bought. So what you would do? You would go tell the shopkeeper that do not give 1 kg of apple to Ritu. Diksha would say, give it to me. Instead of 10, I'll pay 12. And hearing this, Anayat would come and say, no, do not give 10k apples to Diksha, give it to me. I'll pay instead of 12, 14. This way Mohan would come and say, oh, no, I can pay 20. Avinash can come and say, I will pay 25. What is happening? There is inflation in the economy. Because prices are limited and you have a lot of money. And I, being the finance minister, I would say, okay, you have a lot of money. I can curtail that money from your pocket. I would, I would raise tax level from 10%. If that is a prevailing, I would increase from 10 to 30 to 40. What will happen? The income in your hands, the disposable income ultimately that you have will get reduced. All of you would have 5 rupees. When all of you would have 5 rupees in the pocket, nobody of you can go to the market and say, I can pay 10 or I can pay 20. Ultimately, prices will get lowered down because there is nobody who can make a bid in the market. Got it? If there is anybody who didn't understand, you can tell me. And in the meanwhile, Vishal can also tell me if there is any question on the FB. If there is any, you can please tell me. Okay. All of you tell me, did you people relate to what example I gave you? Anaya tell me, Zakir tell me, Avinash, Manisha, Mohan, Rishi, Suneha, the other new girl that we had along with us. We have along with us rather. We do not have her right now. Okay, no problem. Yes, Ritu. Yes, good. So that's very basic, I told you. In this way, the economy, we people can regulate prices in the economy. And the opposite of which is, for example, there is a deflation in the economy. The prices have shrunk to a very low level. They've reduced to a very low level. What we would do? We would increase taxes or we'll reduce taxes. For deflation, what we'll do, guys? Avinash is saying decrease. Tanveer is saying decrease. Zakir is saying reduce. Yes, all of you tell me, guys. Manisha, okay, good. And to make you people more understand this thing, how basically, for example, there is a deflation in the economy. That means people have lower money in their pocket. People have less money in their pocket. And what is our objective? To increase the money in the pocket of the people. And what tool we have? We have tax rate. And anybody of you, Ritu being the finance minister, what she would do? She would, decrease the tax rate, effective tax rate. And if the tax rate gets reduced, that means the money in your pocket gets increased. And if the money in the pocket gets increased, you would go, and as Zakir is telling me, you would spend money in the economy, more money in the economy. And when you spend more, ultimately what is happening? Again, that bidding process starts. Because Zakir would go and say, no, I have 10 more rupees. And Zakir would again go to the shopkeeper and say, now give me, I'll pay you 15 instead of 10. And Ritu would go, she would say that instead of 15, I'll give you 18. You give it to me. That will boost up economy and prices will rise. Got it, guys? That is how the tax rate is an instrument in the hand of the government. Yes. Basically, what happens? These monetary policy and the fiscal policy, they are used, very collectively. Ultimately, both of them, they fall under the control of the government only because RBI is also under the control of the government. So our basic objectives of both of them are same. That is to have a stable economy. That is to have stable prices in the economy. That is to have, to increase the employment in the economy. So we use a mix of both of them. Got it? Both of them are important. What else we have? You people are, yes sir, they are tools. Yes. So we'll be providing you the PDF of this particular lecture and you can read. I'm going to tell you, okay? We are not going to read what is written there. So it is written, fiscal policy can help what? Do you people know how it boosts employment? All of you write yes. How fiscal policy boost employment? All of us knows. Yes. Yes. Okay. All of you know how it helps to control inflation, right? Yes. Yes. Good. Good. Money supply. Is there anybody who wants me to, deliberate upon liquidity or money supply in the economy? How fiscal policy helps? Is there anybody? Zakir is saying yes. Okay, I'll tell you. What money supply is? Basically, money supply is that how much money is there in the economy, guys. Okay. So when we are increasing taxes or when we are decreasing or reducing taxes, what is happening? We are ultimately tinkering. We are ultimately either curtailing or increasing money supply. Because mine objective is that how much Ritu has money in her pocket. If there is inflation in the economy, I want to take money from the Ritu's pocket so that she's not able to bid in the economy. If there is deflation in the economy, I would put money in the pocket of the Ritu so that Ritu can make bid in the economy. So what I'm doing, I'm controlling money supply. And with the help of money supply, I'm controlling inflation. And with the help of inflation, I'm controlling employment. Got it, guys? This is money supply. Zakir, go. आपको समझ आ गया, Zakir? Did you get that? Okay, Zakir. The other point is infrastructure. I think you people know because we gave you example of infrastructure in terms of library that we were building, that Mohan Kaul was actually building. Okay. Now what is happening is that basically if we have to increase infrastructure in the economy, we have to build more libraries, more roads, more ponds, what we do in Manrega and all of the things. If we are increasing our government spending, we are building more infrastructure. If we are reducing, we are reducing infrastructure. Schools, hospitals, yes, Mukul, all of them. In this way, we are influencing all of them. What fiscal policies, you people can read this. How fiscal policy works. Tanveer, education institutions. Okay, this is aggregate remark. Before that, there's one basic thing I think I forgot to discuss along with you. What is the history of fiscal policy? How it came? Basically, there is one name that strikes. That is Lord Maynard Keynes. Keynes is the person who brought this thing. In 1930, what happened? A Great Depression came into world economy. The whole of the world witnessed the Great Depression of 1930. Okay. At that point of time, it is not very important, but you should have understanding that how fiscal policy came. So in 1930, the theory of the economy that we had earlier failed to predict that how this Great Depression came. And all the economists of that time were unable to explain this Great Depression. Then came an economist called Keynes. And he gave, because earlier than this until now, what was the concept? The concept there was that the economy should be left untouched by the government. There should be no control of the government. This was the basic thought of the people or of the economists before the 1930. So all of the economists, big economists, great economists, they believe that economy should be left free. It is basically the play of the market forces, and government should not interfere into the economy. Okay, this was the prevailing thought at that point of time. So this was happening, but suddenly came Great Depression of 1930. Millions of people lost their job, and all the world economies, they got sunk into depression. The recession in the whole of the economy started revolving. So then came a name called Keynes, which we discussed. He told that no, it is not so that the government should not interfere. Government should interfere. There should be a limited interference of the government in the economy, and government should interfere wherever there is a distortion in the economy, wherever the economy is unable to give the actual price of commodities, where the economy fails, the government should interfere. He gave the interference of the government concept. And how the government was supposed to interfere in the economy? It was through fiscal policy. Because ultimately the government is going to do something. And this interference of the economy ultimately came in the shape of fiscal policy. This came to be known as fiscal policy. And today what we see that the government is interfering into the economy by the way of taxation increase or decrease, by the way of spending of the government. Okay, now you understood what is the history of fiscal policy? Tanveer, yes. Okay, Mukul, Manisha, Nayat, Mohan. Mohan, why you are so quiet today? Are you not able to understand what I am saying? Manisha, yes, okay. Vyas is saying yes. Do we have Mohan today? Mohan, okay. Okay. Avinash, yes. Okay, great. So this was basically the history of fiscal policy. Yes. Now, these are the major things. I was listening only today. Mohan, yeah, all of us are listening only today only, Mohan. What happened? So this is that these are the major components on which fiscal policy can have a major impact. Or you can say, oh, these are the things which a government can regulate through fiscal policy or can have impact upon fiscal policy. First of one is aggregate demand. That means demand only. I think we have understood and all of we have discussed this thing and all of you understood how demand can be regulated in economy. Is that so? Yes. If there is anybody right, no, I can discuss demand also, no problem. Avinash is saying yes. Okay, all of you tell me. Tanveer is saying yes, discuss. Okay. Tanveer, I told you, when Mohan started library, he gave income to people like us who were working as laborers, and we got income. And because of that extra income, what happened? We could demand more things. We could go to the shopkeeper and increase, buy commodities. That was basically increase in the demand. That increase in the demand would increase the income of the people, and ultimately more and more people would get employment and would also get income. So that is, the increase in the aggregate demand. If the government decides to spend more, and if the government decides to spend less, there will be reduction in the aggregate demand. Got it, Tanveer? Is that so? Tell me. Yes, sir. Okay, okay. The new girl we have along with us. Are you able to understand? Anayat, yes. Okay. Zakir is also yes. Good, good. Okay. Mukul, yes. Diksha, yes. Got it, guys. So in this way, we regulate aggregate demand. Savings and investment, I'll tell you how savings and investment. For example, I will take example of Diksha. Diksha works in a multinational company, okay, and her income is 100 rupees per month. And what happens suddenly? The government decides to increase the income tax rate, and 30 rupees of her income goes as tax in the government's pocket. So ultimately, what Diksha is left with is only 70 rupees. Out of this 70, Diksha decides to consume 40 rupees daily. Wheat, rice, oil, and all other commodities she wants to purchase. She spends 40 rupees. She is left with only 30 rupees, and out of that, no problem. Okay, so we were discussing Diksha. Out of 30 rupees that is left with Diksha, she decides that she will save 15 rupees and she will invest 15 rupees in stock market. So you're understanding how much is the saving rate? I mean, how much is the saving and how much is the investment? 15. Okay, but suddenly There comes a finance minister. We'll take example of Mukul. Mukul would come as finance minister. Mukul is very generous, and she increases. She's very generous. So what she does is she basically she reduces the effective tax rate. Okay, and from 32 she reduces the tax rate to 15%. Now, what with the same prevailing scenario, ultimately now Diksha is left with 85 rupees in her pocket. And if we assume that her consumption is again constant of 40 rupees, she'll be able to now spend and invest, save and invest more than 15. That could be 20 or that could be 30, depending upon the choice of the Diksha. So this way, what is happening? The tax rate is affecting the saving in the economy or the investment in the economy. Because as people are left with the lower or increase in the income, their savings and investment will also correspondingly increase or lower down. Did you people understand? आपको समझ आ गया? दीक्षा आपको समझ आया? मुकुल आपको समझ आया? मोहन, अनायत, जाकिर, रियाज, यस, ओके. Savings or investment को कैसे इफेक्ट करता है? Got it. Then we have income distribution, guys. Zakir, got it. Good. Mohan, good. Are you people enjoying this lecture or it is monotonous? Tell me. Guys, are you people enjoying this lecture? Okay, Diksha is saying yes. Mohan is saying yes. Good. You good. Everything is good except network. Mohan, and I cannot do anything with your network. Tanveer is saying enjoying plus gaining. Buy course. Oh, Tanveer, thank you. Good. Okay. So now you people feel economics is difficult or easy? Thank you, Vaibhav. He's being generous enough to offer me green tea. Easy to difficult, Avinash? Okay, he has given us a parameter. Good. Others also tell me. Mohan is saying still difficult. Mohan, no, it is not. By you, it seems easy. Good. Manisha, interesting. Exactly, Manisha. Economics is very interesting because these are the examples that I'm giving you. People can relate it because that is what we do in normal day-to-day life. It is not unlike. It is not a subject like history or some other. I'm not saying that history is bad, but what I'm telling you is basically this is a subject which you can correlate in day-to-day life of yours. If there is an increase in tax rate that affects us, it is not something that is affecting to some other citizens of the country. It is affecting all of us. If there is a fiscal policy, that's for us. Okay, guys. So we should relate economy. Okay, guys. So moving on further, we have done income distribution. I think we know what income distribution is and how it affects because we have taken example of Mohan. All of you understood income distribution, how fiscal policy helps income distribution, right? Yes, if you understood, and if not, you want me to discuss, right? No problem. We can discuss. Mohan call money circulation. Exactly, Mohan. Manisha, yes. Okay. Riyaz, yes. What about Ritu? Okay, Ritu. Good. 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 Good, guys. Diksha, yes. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay. So we have done with income distribution also. Yes, sir. While taking example of Mohan as finance minister, exactly, Mohan. Let's hope that Mohan becomes the finance minister of this country. Okay. So Now, the distribution of resources and money supply. Okay. Good luck, Mohan. All of you say good luck to Mohan. Okay. Okay, guys. Tanveer is saying good luck first. I said yes. Tanveer, if tomorrow he becomes the finance minister, I hope he can give us some extra income. Okay? No problem. So next, moving on further, guys, the distribution of resources and money supply. Okay? How the distribution of resources is? Basically, what happens? Resources, people enjoy resources by the purview of income, by the purview of money. Okay? If I have money, I can enjoy apples. If I have money, I can go and I can buy saffron. If I have income, I can enjoy a car. I can enjoy all the resources. Okay, only if I have the income or the purchasing power to buy and enjoy those commodities and goods. Okay, but how we can let everybody enjoy? By distributing income, or by making an economy where everybody has such income level or basic income level so that they can afford the basic amenities of the life. So by the way of the income distribution, there's a distribution of the resources also. Understood, guys? Avinash is saying no. Okay. Avinash, what are resourcing? What are resources? Sorry. Resources are basically like they could be natural resources. Tanveer, yes, I'm repeating. No problem. No problem. What are resources basically? They could be economic resources. They could be natural resources. They could be man-made resources. Okay, that's our topic. That's is not our topic to delve deeper into classification of the resources. But we know what resources are. So, in order to enjoy Gulmarg, do you think a person from Kerala with no income can he come and enjoy Gulmarg? No, nobody can come from Kerala to Gulmarg without income because it takes transportation costs, it takes food to eat, and the way Gulmarg place is, it's so costly there. And if you have to enjoy the skiing and all other sports there, winter sports, you actually have to spend a lot from your pocket. So, by the way of the income distribution, if again Mohan is a finance minister, let's think that Mohan, I'm the person from Kerala. Mohan is saying even if it is not possible for us to visit Kerala. Yes, Mohan, we got that. So I was telling, since now Mohan is a finance minister, he's telling us what is affordable or not. Garib finance minister. Okay, guys. Mohan is not. Thank you, guys. Let's come back to the topic. Okay. Let me have water. Okay. We'll change a finance minister. We want a rich finance minister. Okay. Mohan, so sorry. From time being, okay, Tanveer is saying me. Okay, Tanveer is a finance minister. Okay. Now, Mukul has to come from, Kerala to Gulmarg to enjoy the winter, to see Gulmarg. Okay, guys. But she cannot come because she does not have so much of the money in her pocket. So Tanveer now is a rich finance minister. What he decides? He decides to give a package or aid to Mukul and says, okay, people from Kerala can now come on state-sponsored scheme and come and see Kashmir. Okay? So Mukul is saying deal. Good, Mukul. Okay? So they, a train gets sponsored. Mukul sits in the train and we all come to Gulmarg to visit and enjoy Gulmarg and to enjoy all the winter sports that happens in the Kashmir. So this way, what is happening? Through income distribution, we are able to enjoy, or we are able to better distribute our resources. Are you able to understand, or you want me to again give you any other example, or change finance minister, or change other person? Tell me. Yes. Yes, sir. Tanvir, yes, sir. Continue. Yes, Tanvir will make you finance minister. Don't worry. You are going to remain a finance minister till the time nobody objects. Okay? Good. Good, guys. Ritu, tell me. आपको समझ आया? Manisha, let me know. Diksha. Okay. Okay, guys. No crown is on Ranveer head. Okay. Okay, Mukul. Okay. Mohan. Good. Good. Moving on to next, the business cycle. That is not so important, guys. Business cycle is basically, if the economy is in very good shape, that is, in a very good health, then it falls into a recession. Then comes depression. Again, it comes to a very good level. In this way, these are the business cycles. Okay, if economy is in recession, what we would do? We would stimulate demand. And how we would stimulate demand in the economy? We would increase the income of the people. We would do more government spending. We would lower tax rate, and this way economy would boost up, and ultimately from recession economy would come out. Okay, this way we can regulate the business cycles. Not exactly regulate, but we can help economy come out of the recessions and depressions. Got it, guys? Yes. Okay. 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 The next is tax rates. We do not want to go into tax rates because we have already done this thing. Okay. We'll move to some other. What is the purpose of fiscal policy? You will read this thing because we have discussed everything of this. History of fiscal policy we have done.
Sir, there is one question.
Okay.
Mohammed Mir Firoz.
Okay.
उन्होंने कहा कि explain hyperinflation.
Okay, there's a question on Facebook. A person has asked us, Umair. He's asking, what is hyperinflation? We have students along with us who have taken this course. All of you know what hyperinflation is. It is basically, when inflation increases. I'll give you some example that we did in our course. Basically, hyperinflation phenomena was, witnessed in Zimbabwe. It was witnessed in Venezuela. It was witnessed in some other countries also. We discussed when we did this topic. It is when inflation increases overnight, and increases to so much a level that if I can cite you an example, in one of the countries, if I'm correct, in Venezuela, the prices rose to 48% today, and after 5 days or a week, they rose to 64,000%. Okay, guys. Yeah, Germany. Avinash is telling me, one of the students of our course, he's telling me in 1924, after World War I, the price level in the Germany rose to such a level that the increase in the price level was not mere 10% or 20%. It was 1,000 or 2,000%. When you have inflation of that percent, that is basically hyperinflation. And it is the result of the government's policy. Okay. Venezuela, the president of Venezuela, Che Guevara, at that point of time, made some absurd economic policy, and the country fell into hyperinflation because Venezuela is a OPEC country, and the major source of income for them is oil export. All other commodities they are importing, but when they were earning, they did not substitute goods which they were importing from other countries. In this way, this is the scenario what hyperinflation is. We have trotting, walking, running, galloping, and then hyperinflation. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, guys. Anayat is saying its effects can be devastating. Yes, Anayat. Anayat has given examples. Yes, Anayat, we have done. Coming back to our topic, we have done history of fiscal policy. Good. Who determines fiscal policy? All of us knows, and I want all of you to tell me who determines fiscal policy in this country. Yes, Tanveer, Bolivia in 1985 is also a good example of that. Avinash is saying Sitaraman government. Okay, Avinash. It's not Sitaraman government, it's finance minister. And it's not RBI. Fiscal policy falls under the domain of finance ministry. Okay, government, to be more precise. Yes. Government. Yes, Avinash. Ritu, tell me. Diksha, tell me. Zakir, Riaz. Government. Okay, guys. Good. Okay, guys. Can you please tell me the time? 7:49. Okay. Okay. Guys, Tanveer is telling me 7:50 is the time. Thank you, Tanveer. So, topic is, what are the three types of fiscal policies? We have discussed all these. Okay, guys. Now we only have to understand the terminology. If I have told you earlier that what expansionary fiscal policies, you might have got confused. But now, since I have explained everything with so good examples that you people could relate, now if I'll make you understand and give you the definition of these types of fiscal policies, I'm sure you will relate. Expansionary fiscal policy, guys, is basically where the objective of the government is to expand, okay, to increase, like the way the term itself speaks expansion. We have to do the expansion in the economy. An expansionary fiscal policy, it normally involves the increase in the government spending, or the reduction in the tax rate. Okay, they have to be, if the spending is increased, there has to be a decrease in the reduction in the tax rate. That is expansionary fiscal policy. Okay, now we have the contractionary fiscal policy. What the term itself speaks, we have to contract economy. And how we can contract economy? We can either reduce the government spending, or we can increase the tax rate. Okay, the third one is a neutral, and for neutral is that we have to keep the prevailing tax rate and the government spending at the same, unchanged. These are the three different types of fiscal policies. Got it, guys? Is there even a slightest or the thing of the doubt that you people have? Tanveer is saying yes, Anad is saying yes. Avinash is saying repeat. Avinash, we can repeat, no problem. Okay. Okay. Avinash, I was telling you that there are basically three different types of fiscal policies. One of them is expansionary fiscal policy, other is contractionary, third is neutral. What happens? The expansionary fiscal policy is basically where the government increases, the spending, and government, reduces the tax rate, because our objective is to increase or to expand the economy, to increase the growth of the economy. Okay, so that is expansionary fiscal policy. Government increases its spending. Lot of a finance minister. Right now, Tanveer is the finance minister we have right now along with us in this group. So what Tanveer would do here, Tanveer's objective is that we have to start so many different libraries, so many different roads. So Tanveer would involve so many different projects, and many people, millions of people would be engaged in those projects, and they will get employment, they will get income from Tanveer. And what will happen? When they will get income, they will go to the respective shops, malls, buy, spend, consume, save, invest. They will do all of those things. And this is what is happening. Whatever they have invested, whatever they have saved is also coming to the economy as income. And this way, the whole economy gets expanded, because the money multiplier is in operation. Okay, guys, that is expansionary fiscal policy. The opposite of that is contractionary fiscal policy. Our finance minister would say, enough of the roads, enough of the libraries, enough of the other projects. Our main objective is now, we do not want to increase money supply in the economy. Let's curtail income. So millions of the people who were earlier working on these projects now will be devoid of the income. They will go home without any income. That means they will not purchase much of the commodities from the respective shops, and the money multiplier, which was earlier into operation, would stop or cease or would lower down. And this way, the economy would contract a bit, because that means lower investments, lower savings, lower consumption, and lower spending. Got it, guys? Neutral, I don't think I need to tell you people, that's exactly the same. Now, Avinash, did you get that? Okay, okay, good. So, difference between fiscal policy and monetary policy? Yes. Guys, there's a basic difference between fiscal policy and the monetary policy is that fiscal policy, the government involves the fiscal policy. Monetary policy is with the Reserve Bank of India or the central bank of the country. The main objective of the fiscal policy is basically, to control aggregate demand or to change the demand in the economy. Because by the way of the demand, they can change other things in the economy. Otherwise, the objective of the fiscal policy, RBI involves what, Tanveer? Monetary policy. Okay, Tanveer? Yes. So, okay. So the main objective of the fiscal policy and the this monetary policy are same. Basically, to have a stable economy, to have stable price level in the economy, to increase the employment in the economy, to boost employment as I said earlier, and all these things. But the key metric here in fiscal policy is aggregate demand, whereas in monetary policy is inflation, the price level. Because the effect of the monetary policy is direct. How it is direct? We do not have that in syllabus. In monetary policy, the RBI has certain rates, repo rate, reverse repo rate, bank rate, and all those things. The government increases repo rate, and that changes the bank rate in the SBI and JK Bank, and all the people who takes loan, that becomes expensive or inexpensive. That depends upon what the RBI has done, and this way, the price level gets affected in the economy. That's a separate chapter. We will do once the topic that once we deal with the topic of the monetary policy. Okay. Right now we're doing fiscal policy. We have done fiscal policy under government, monetary policy under RBI, fiscal policy, aggregate demand, monetary policy, price level. Okay, the prices in the economy or inflation. Okay, guys. Rest the instruments. The instruments of fiscal policy are tax rate and government spending. The instruments. Mohan Paul is saying very important, repo rate and reverse repo rate. Yes, Mohan. Once we'll come to the topic, we'll do all the important things. So, under monetary policy, I think it is enough today, sir. Thanks for dedicated lecture. Tanveer, we're done. That's the last slide. Let's finish it off. Okay. So, the instruments under monetary policy are repo rate, reverse repo rate, bank rate. We have quantitative measures, qualitative measures. These are different separate. Got it. Okay. There is one concept, guys, pump priming. Okay. Write this thing in your chat box. Pump priming. Most of the times this comes into the exam. What pump priming is. Tanveer right, Ritu right, Diksha right, Anayat, Umang good, Mukul. Riaz, good. Okay. Okay. Yes. Is there anybody who's left? Okay, guys, I'll give you an example. Do not take that example literally. Okay. But how many of you have seen bore pumps or bore wells? Right? Yes. Or motors. Basically, the motors that work in a home. That gives water. That there isn't anybody. We have seen that in movies also. The borewell pumps. Avinash is saying yes. I'll tell you, most of the people they have in their farmhouses, we have bore wells or we have bore pumps. What happens? A lot of water comes out of them. They are used to irrigate land. Mostly paddy fields. Yes, sir. Always see Tanvir. Okay, good. So what happens? Nowadays we have advanced pumps, but earlier what used to happen, we used to put some water into the pump. Okay, guys. Ritu. Okay, we are admitting Ritu. I think there was some network problem with the connection. Okay. So Ritu, what example we were discussing is we were discussing the concept of the pump priming. What I was telling that you must have seen. Yes, Avinash. What we used to do, we used to put some water into the pump first, because first the water would run, the pump would run dry. We would put some water into the pump, and then the water would go down, and then the the continuous flow of the water would do. Avinash is saying I put yesterday. Okay, Avinash, I got it. So what is happening? We're putting some water there, and that water, initial water that we are putting, is helping out, pump lot of other water from the underground, where canal system does not exist. Yes. So think that what government does when economy is in recession, government is putting some water into the economy. Okay. And that some water is stimulating demand in the economy, and that is helping us, pull a lot of water from the economy. The economy comes into action. That is pump priming. And I'll give you example. I've given example, but the exact definition is when the economy is in recession, guys. The government, there is nobody who's willing to take risk. No entrepreneur is willing to take risk. Like right now in the COVID-19, because the whole of the world economy is very gloomy, very recessionary. So new entrepreneurs like us, like you people, would not come and take risk at present. Okay. So what they would do, it becomes the responsibility of the government to initiate, to bring the economy to a particular level so that the others would also come and start. Okay. So that is pump priming. Pump priming is action taken to stimulate the economy, usually during a recessionary period, okay, through government spending or interest rate. How through interest rate? The government would do what? The government would lower the interest rate and tell people that we would give tax deductions to this sector of the people who would come and start their venture and all those things. That is pump priming, to stimulate economy during recession. I hope you people understood what I wanted to say through pump priming. This is a very good concept, very easy to understand, and you might have been able to relate by the example that I've given you. Avinash, okay. Tanveer, yes. Okay. Manisha, tell me. Diksha, tell me. Avinash, you have given me your answer. Mohan, Mukul, Ritu, yes. Yes. Do we have something on Facebook, Weber? Okay. Yes. So guys, this was the topic of the day. We discussed what fiscal policy is. We discussed the types of the fiscal policy. We discussed what are the instruments of the fiscal policy. Okay, we discussed the difference between fiscal policy and monetary policy. I think that's enough for the day.